is that the government chose to intervene by taking possession and operating control, meaning they took possession of your unalienable rights to your labor. They took, you know, it's a title, your birth certificate is a title to a piece of property. Continuing on, by doing so, it became the proprietor, and in absence of contrary arrangements was entitled to the benefit and subject to the liabilities which that status involves. So I continue on in the email. Of course, the Fifth Amendment provides the following: nor be deprived of life, liberty, property without due process. Okay, so going on, my case is a little more complicated. I'm not looking for money. If you were to grant me 10 minutes of your time, I am sure you will understand why I'm not looking for money. I would be writing a book in an email. This is why it is best to chat. The case would be challenging to take on, but I do not see it as insurmountable. As a matter of fact, the law actually speaks for itself, overwhelmingly so. The only issue I see is enforcement. Though I do not see this as insurmountable either, it just would take someone who is trained in law, as I am not. But I have spent many hours, maybe too many, attempting to figure it out. Anyway, if you are willing to chat, I am around today or next week. I believe the case may be a big winner with the right counsel handling it. I appreciate your time. So she writes, I do eminent domain, but this doesn't sound like that. I only do actual eminent domain where the government takes property for public purpose. That's what she writes. You ready? Okay, I will be a little more clear. Similar to eminent domain is usufruct. I was hoping the first email would pique your interest. Now, to go into 1 minute of the story, many years ago, I was falsely accused. It was clear from everyone involved. It was a lie. The evidence, I went into minor. Over time, with spiritual study, then came the legal study, and like the spiritual study, I delved heavily into that legal study, as above, so below. The key is my participation. I must be in the world, but do I really want to be of the world? And that's a good question to ask. You know, it's not a spiritual lesson, but do you really want to, or my belief is we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Do you really want to set your sights that this is it and only it, or do you sense there's something bigger and better? And I don't just believe it, I feel it, but I just wish all of our eyes could be open just a little bit more to reality as opposed to the hell we're in. Continuing on, the key is my participation. I must be in the world, but I really do not want to be of the world. I see this case as one that can be enforced but must be done in camera and sealed. I could never understand why, since the citations are out there. Nonetheless, I guess due to national trade secrets that if everybody realized legally they are playing the role of a trustee de Santor for a bankrupt nation, well, perhaps that would be the best light to shine. That would not be the best light to shine in the public's eye. It amounts to citizens legally are nothing more than collateral, as their labor has been pledged to back the nation's operations. I continue on, and I stress this with everybody. This knowledge is not about, I can get away with something. Now, I don't look at it that way. It's not about, fuck you. No, that's not it at all. My concern is that we have people, actors out there that take advantage You know, many of us want to live in peace and in the world and get along with others. It's not very hard. Being in a condo situation, I shake my head. Many of us just don't want controversy. We don't want confrontation. We want to get along. We want to say, hey neighbor, how are you? Let's go for dinner. You know, be friendly. And then there's a group that they don't let up. I gotta tell you, and then you say, what the fuck do they want? All they want is that opportunity to vent their anger, and even when you do things to try and make them happy, it doesn't work. It's the same thing in the world. I just truly hope soon the ones that can get along will be on one side, and the ones that want to be angry and hurt and get even, whatever, over there. But getting back to this study and what I see this as, I don't think anybody should be taken advantage of. But with that same flip side of the coin is we still have responsibilities. And I explained prior, you know, I'm traveling in a car. Of course, if I'm driving a vehicle, I'm operating in commerce. I don't mean it that way. What I mean is if I happen to be traveling in a car and I go, you know, 7 miles over the speed limit, you know, the cop comes up to you and he's license and registration and insurance. Well, it's a contract. We all know that. That's the basic premise. But again, what's he looking? Is he a peace officer or a profiteer? There is no harm party. Now, if you cause harm, that's a different issue. It just does not sit well with me. There's no reason to try and control another. Okay, my piece is, I said my little ditty. So continuing on, I could never understand why, since all the citations are out there. Nonetheless, I guess due to national trade secrets that if everyone realized legally they are playing the role of a trustee de tort for a bankrupt nation, well, perhaps that would not be in the best light to shine in the public's eye. It amounts to citizens legally are nothing more than collateral, as their labor had been pledged to back the nation's operations. It is not about getting away with anything. It is not some nonsense called sovereign citizen. It really is a matter of international constitutional statutory case law. Even UCC can come into play. Contractual performance duty to perform as required under law. I get this is a touchy subject and perhaps you may not even respond. However, I see this type of case as a win-win, not only for the spoliated owner, but also for the U.S. government, as presumed debtors using, without any lawful option available, Federal Reserve notes. This increases the national debt, as we can't pay a debt with the debt, as opposed to set off as an authorized trustee to take care of business. Yes, a very touchy subject. I can write much more, but I suspect you get the drift. Thank you. And of course, the attorney never responded. So, again, I see what the problem is, and anyway, it is what it is. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, or you think the video is foolish, or my ass is going to be handed to me. Sure. Well, I have a few things in place for Attorney Goldstein in case he decides to go that route. All right, guys. I hope this is helpful. Again, it's not about copying it. It's about thinking your way through it, understanding the logic. I don't believe everything has to be 100% perfect. They just have to get the overall gist of it. And I do the best when I write, but you know, I'm not the best writer. So hopefully this is a help and gives you some ideas to think about. All right, again, not as a legal disclaimer, but it's not legal advice. It's just simply something I have done, and feel it's important that nobody gets taken advantage of or used as toilet paper. So you do as you see fit, and please do not copy word for word. Just the idea general about, it's basically the Uniform Commercial Code, contract, offer acceptance, counter, that kind of deny, you get it. All right, have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you.